I have made some significant changes to the holdings in my Freetrade ISA, and in this portfolio update, I'm going to walk you through all of those changes. If you're new to the channel and not seen these videos before, what I do in this series is walk you through transparently my Freetrade and Vanguard portfolios, show you how they're performing, talk about what I've been buying and selling, and my overall thoughts on the market. Starting off with the Freetrade ISA, it's been a pretty good month for the ISA. So the value of that now sits at 113,378, and in the past month is up by basically 5% or £5,616. It's probably also worth looking at the performance for the past year. So in the past year, it's been pretty good. It's up 30.9%, which equates to 35,000. The broader market is up, so obviously this has benefited. Obviously, being in more volatile stocks, when the market goes up, generally speaking, this goes up even more. But the inverse is also true. And in the past 5 years, or basically since the inception of this portfolio, I'm up 41.2% or £46,710. What I also like to do is benchmark my ISA against the FTSE All-World Accumulating Fund, just to see how I'm performing against the broader market. Would I have been better off just buying a All-World Index funding and leaving it at that? So since the inception of this portfolio, the ISA is up 75% on a time-weighted rate of return. The FTSE All-World ETF is up 17.26. So yes, significantly outperforming the broader market, which is great news. I will touch on my portfolio changes in just a minute, but looking at the portfolio breakdown, PALANTIR is now 51% of my overall portfolio. I am quite heavy in cash, 14.9%. The FTSE World ETF is my second largest position, that's 10.7, Rocket Lab 4.9, and then much smaller positions from then on. So looking at the recent activity, what you'll see is I've done some major consolidation in my ISA. So I did have a very large number of stocks. I think it was 20 or even 30 at one point, many of which I had varying convictions in. So what I focused on is actually which companies do I have the highest conviction in, and those which I have not so much, I've sold off for either cash or reinvested in the FTSE All-World ETF. The other downside with having such a large number of stocks, although it gives some diversification, is I just didn't have the time to keep track of all the news for all the different companies, listen to all the earnings, digest all the information. So as someone who's got limited spare time, what I think is more appropriate is have a smaller number of companies which I really have high conviction in, that I can keep up to date with the latest news, the latest earnings, and put the rest in either an index fund or some other ETF which doesn't require that level of due diligence and research. So looking at the recent activity, so I basically sold Dutch Bros. I think it was at a sort of 10% profit, which was quite nice, and reinvested in the FTSE All World. So I bought 7 shares of that. I also received a monthly dividend from SL Green, which I get every single month, and that's £10. I did trim this position last month because it was up quite a bit, but the rest I'm going to just keep in my portfolio for the long term and basically get hopefully a £10 dividend for life. I received £12.74 of interest, and that's based on the cash balance I've got on the ISA account. So there's some of this helps pay for the fees I pay for Freetrade every month. I bought some more FTSE All ETFs, so £908 worth for 9 shares, and that's on the back of selling Enphase and Disney. I think both of which I sold for a very small profit. Also sold DraftKings, but that was up, I think, 80-90%, so also sold that. And you can see I bought some more FTSE All ETFs, so 10 shares of that. And last year I did buy some more Palantir. And the reason I bought this, I did sell at around, I think it was $29. I then bought back in around 25, 26, and since then Palantir share price has rocketed back up, so we'll touch on that in a little bit. There is a glitch in the Freetrade web app where I can't see any more previous history, but looking through the app, the other things I sold was Hershey's, and I also sold Persimmon and Carnival. So you can see I sold a large number of these positions and either reinvested in the FTSE All ETF, or I've got a large sum balance, which I'm looking to redeploy very soon. So looking at the positions within the ISA, let's start off with Palantir. So now I've got a total of 2,460 shares. The value of it is 57,866, and it's one of my best performing stocks, so it's up 155.91%. So Palantir absolutely smashed its earnings, and I won't go into too much detail in this video because you've probably seen a lot of the numbers. The main thing for me is that re-acceleration in growth. Hopefully we get back to that 30% range. I think that'd be fantastic. And obviously the customer growth, that's still growing like crazy. And I think we're still quite early days with this stock, but from what I saw, I'm so confident that this company is going to perform amazingly in the next 10-15 years. It's probably worth taking a quick look at the price action for Palantir. So in the past month, it's up 13.9%. The earnings, I believe, was around the 5th, 6th of August. And you can see before the earnings, it was trading in the $20 to $25 range. But since the earnings, it's now trading in sort of the $30+ range. And I'm surprised it's held this quite strongly. I mean, there might have been a little dip there, but generally speaking, it's held that $30 range, which is, I think, basically a new floor for Palantir. So what's my plan with this stock? At the minute, it's just a hold for me. It's quite difficult to buy a stock at $31 when my average price is $11.12, but that's just a mental block I have. But I think it's just a hold for me until the price goes down maybe to $24, $25 range. I consider buying more. But at the minute, I'm just holding this position and looking for opportunities elsewhere. Next up, we have VWRP. A couple of updates ago, it was around 69 shares, so I'd nearly double this position. And that's because what I talked about earlier around consolidating my positions in some of the other companies and just sticking it in an index fund. Next up, we have Rocket Lab USA. That's up 47%, so that's going up quite nicely. I think part of that is the hype with the ASTS stock kind of brought the price of Rocket Lab up. But I'm still confident in this long term. It is a bit more of a speculative place for me. I'm not adding more unless it kind of significantly drops in share price. So it's another one that's just a hold for me. Truist is valued at £3,525 and is up 38%. And is a stock that gives me basically a nice dividend. It's quite a stable company. I got it at quite a good price. As you can see, it's up 38%. So it's one I'm just going to hold and just enjoy the dividends that come along with this position. SoFi has had a bit of price recovery. I think it was in the red for the past couple of updates. But for this month, it's up 5.49%. I'm not sure on what news, but I'm not going to complain. Another stock that was in the red for quite a while was PayPal, so that's now positive 1.14%. Yeah, not a lot, but it's still positive. Some people think this is a value trap. I'm not so convinced. I've got a bit more faith in the company and CEO. It's an absolute cash machine, doing lots of share buybacks. It is a small position of my overall portfolio, so I'm just happy holding it for the time being. SL Green is a stock that just continues to perform. It's up 110% in my portfolio, and I actually trimmed some position last month because it was up 100%, and since then it's gone up another 10%. So it shows you how bad I am at timing the market. I have kept some of the big tech stocks because these are good quality companies. So Alphabet's up 21%. Meta's, again, one of my better performing stocks. That's up 152%. Microsoft up 45%. Tesla not doing so well, so that's taken a bit of a hit recently, but I think long term it's going to perform quite well. And last but not least, Everstill, but this is a position I can't sell because of the issues currently with Russia, but when I can sell it, I will get rid of this. So that concludes the Freetrade Stocks and Shares ISA, so let's move over to the general investment account. The value of the GIA sits at £17,675, and it's not done as well as the ISA, so in the past month, it's down by 1.05%, which is the equivalent to £185.18. I am still unsure what I want to do with this portfolio long term. Part of me wants to wait till the October autumn budget just to see what Labour is proposing. They may make changes to capital gains tax or pension relief. So potentially I could sell this and put it into my pension and get that 40% tax relief, or I could leave it in for the long term. But at the minute, I'm just not adding any money to this. I'm going to wait and hold and then see what the best route is going forward. Taking a quick look at the positions, nothing's really changed drastically. So Meta still up 214%, my biggest position and one of my best performers in all of my portfolios. Alphabet, that's up 36%. Amazon's doing quite well, so that's up 54%. Enphase Energy has taken a hit, so I did sell it in my ISA, but I'm planning on keeping it in my GIA for the time being. We've got Microsoft, that's also doing well at plus 48%. So is JP Morgan. I mean, that's sitting at £565 and is up 75%. One of the reasons this portfolio is not doing as well is probably the next three stocks. So first up, Starbucks. So the earnings came in. They missed on revenue, which is never good in this sort of environment. I think part of that is due to the poor China sales. So now this is only up 13.27%. Intel also had a fairly rough earnings. So the numbers came in weak, the guidance was weak, and on top of that, they cut their dividend. So you can understand why it's down 45% in this portfolio. Last up in this portfolio is Neo, and to be honest, I've just stopped tracking it. I'm just holding it. If it recovers, great. If not, yeah, fair enough. I'll just sell it at a loss. So that covers the Freetrade GIA. So let's move over to the Vanguard GIA. So the value of the Vanguard account is £16,341, made up of majority of S&P 500 with a little bit of cash. So this account is up in the green by £3,494. So that concludes the autumn update, and I will catch you guys in the next month's video.